Welcome, valuable viewers of a story channel. In a dense tropical forest, where the canopy of trees stretched high above and the air was thick with the scent of blooming flowers, lived a parrot named Pico. Pico was not just any parrot. He was a striking bird with bright green feathers accented with splashes of red and blue. His vibrant colors and sharp intellect made him a sight to behold and a target for those seeking rare birds. One day, while Pico was foraging for food, he noticed something unusual below a nearby tree. There, in a small clearing, was a shiny golden cage with grains scattered around it. The grains gleamed in the sunlight, an obvious lure for any unsuspecting bird. But Pico was not easily fooled. He perched confidently on a tree branch above the cage, his keen eyes assessing the situation. Hidden behind a cluster of bushes nearby was a hunter named Rafik. Rafik had been trying to capture Pico for weeks, frustrated by the parrot's cleverness and agility. He was a skilled hunter, but had met his match in Pico. Today, he thought he had devised the perfect trap. Holding a net in his hands, he watched Pico intently, a mixture of hope and frustration etched on his face. Pico cocked his head to one side, his beady eyes shimmering with mischief. He knew exactly what Rafik was up to, and had no intention of falling into his trap. Instead, he decided to have a little fun. With a sly look, Pico began to preen his feathers, making a show of fluffing up his vibrant plumage. Rafik's eyes widened as he saw Pico's display, interpreting it as a sign that the parrot was lowering his guard. He tightened his grip on the net, his heart racing with anticipation. But Pico was merely biding his time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike back. As the minutes ticked by, Pico suddenly let out a loud, mocking squawk. Rafik jumped in surprise, his net slipping from his grasp momentarily. Seizing the opportunity, Pico swooped down from his perch, flying low over the shiny cage. His wings created a gust of wind that scattered the grains, making them less appealing to any passing bird. Seeing his bait disturbed, Rafik cursed under his breath and scrambled to grab his net again. But Pico was already back on the tree branch, chirping with what could only be described as laughter. The parrot's confidence and cunning were clear, and Rafik knew he had been outwitted once more. Determined not to give up, Rafik tried a different approach. He retrieved a small bag of even more enticing grains and carefully sprinkled them around the cage, creating a new, more alluring trap. He retreated to his hiding spot, his eyes never leaving Pico. Pico watched the hunter's every move, his sharp mind quickly formulating a plan. He waited patiently until Rafik settled back into his position behind the bushes. Then, with a sudden burst of speed, Pico took flight again. This time he aimed directly for Rafik's hiding spot. The hunter, caught off guard by Pico's sudden approach, stumbled backward, his net flailing uselessly in the air. Pico landed on a branch just above Rafik, his beak inches from the hunter's ear. He let out a series of loud, mocking calls, causing Rafik to cover his ears in frustration. Desperate and defeated, Rafik fell to the ground, his plans in disarray. Pico, triumphant in his cleverness, fluttered back to his original perch, his feathers glinting in the sunlight. He looked down at the shiny cage and scattered grains, a testament to his intelligence and cunning. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the forest, Rafik gathered his belongings and prepared to leave. He knew when he was beaten. With a final glance at Pico, he muttered, "You win this time, Parrot. But I'll be back." Pico watched him go, his eyes twinkling with amusement. He knew that as long as he remained vigilant and clever, no trap would ever ensnare him. The forest was his home, and he was its master. From that day forward, Pico continued to live freely among the trees, his reputation as the cleverest parrot in the forest growing with each passing day. And though Rafik returned time and time again, Pico always managed to stay one step ahead, a symbol of triumph and wit. Moral: the story teaches the importance of cleverness and vigilance. With intelligence and a sharp mind, one can overcome obstacles and outwit those who seek to do harm.